Welcome back to another episode of Evolv the Podcast. I'm Andrea Waycott and this is
Julie Saunders.
Or Fury, as some people like to call her, the OG Gladiator.
Who likes to call me that?
I'll tell you who, Mark McGaw.
Yes.
He calls you Fury in normal conversation.
He still does. God bless him.
It's like, Julie. Okay. We are going to be chatting to Mark McGaw in this episode, so stick around for that. That is fantastic. Two OGs having a conversation. I've never felt more left out. No, I had a lot of fun, and I got to ask a lot of fun questions as well, and I have a new ringtone coming. That's a hook.
Yes, you do.
You need to listen out for that because it's awesome. Also in this episode, Jules, we're going to be talking about the Oz Fitness Expo that we just went to. That was an eye-opener.
It was awesome, and it was awesome.
It was. And if you're wondering why we're inundated with things, we will tell you why very soon. And also in this episode, we do my next step in my fitness journey, and that is Jules doing some measurements and stuff.
Body stats. Exactly.
Body stats. Sounds so fun.
It does sound fun, but it's a stake in the sand of where you are right now.
Yeah, because we need to know where we're starting so we know where we're headed.
Track the journey.
Track the journey. All right, well, how about we kick off with Mr. Mark McGaw, or as I like to call him, Sparkles. Here's our chat.
Hammer. Well, I will stick to Mark, but many people know you, of course, as the gladiator named Hammer.
Yeah.
That's another
Hammer.
Yeah.
I've also got a few other names, but I won't tell them.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, there's the Shark. You know, we played the Sharks. The Rabbitoh for a couple of years. So
Yeah.
Hammer. So, I mean,
Did they call you Bunny? Hey, Bunny.
all my different personalities.
Of course, because you came from a pretty illustrious career as a rugby player, didn't you?
Yeah, I started when I was about 5, and my first contract was we went down to Anzac Oval at Engadine many years ago, and we went down to play footy, and I wouldn't go on, so Dad offered me 20 cents, and I took the money and run, and that was my first contract.
Bag of lollies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back then it was like 4 for a cent or 3 for a cent.
I know, exactly.
It's like 60 lollies.
So how big a jump is it to go from playing professional rugby, like for your country as well,
Yeah.
to then become a gladiator? How big a jump is that?
Well, what you're looking at is that, and none of the other guys would have noticed so much, but because the first game I played, I was about 18. So after that game, naturally, you know, your first game, reporters come up with microphones in your mouth, and you don't know what to say, and you're sort of like you're thinking about what not to say. You don't want to say the wrong thing, and you know, after about 5 years, it's like, oh, who gives a rat's ass? You know, like you just say what
I want.
Yeah. And
do they give you any training though, Mark? Do they train you for the media? None.
No, there was none at all back then. And so you fast forward to my last year of football, I was doing the show. And Fury, you probably had a little bit of exposure when you were doing, you know, when you were before the show through, you know, being on stage or bodybuilding or with Taipan, etc.
I love that
so
you
what
call
I
me Fury.
I love it too. I never call her Fury.
The thing was that I saw a lot of, and actually the Gladiators handled it pretty well. So I mean, a couple of them, and I won't mention any names, it started to go to their head a little bit, so they didn't know how to handle it. So you go from where you are, which is, you know, just everyday people, and all of a sudden you're in front of a crowd and you're in front of a huge audience.
Yeah.
Where I've already been through that. Like my first State of Origin match, there was they had 1 million viewers, and you're in front of 60,000 people on a kangaroo tour in Headingley, well, not so much Headingley, but in the big stadium. So
yeah, but it's
I've sort of been, so when that came to me, it didn't it wasn't like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? It was like fantastic. I loved the show and it was loved being part of it. And it was something different, but it didn't feel the same way as it was when I was 18. It's like, oh, and then after about a year, it's like, well, hang on, you start reading your press and start believing your newspaper reports, you start getting a big head. And that's what, so I felt that I was pretty grounded by that stage.
Yep.
But there was a couple of gladiators, and I won't mention it, it went to their head a little bit, but and there was some
Julie,
dramas.
I told you had a big
Yeah,
head.
sorry, Mark. I apologise now.
I mean, there was some dramas back then. Remember, there was
there were a number of dramas which we won't talk about.
self-inflicted dramas, you know, and it's hard. You know, I don't want to go back to all that, but you know, you put yourself into a situation where you can get into trouble, and you might not even be doing anything. You might just be innocently. So you've just got to make sure that you know, if you're out and about, that you do the right thing, you always say the right thing, and you always just, you know, you keep humble.
But that'd be like being a sports person. You would know that you are representing a lot to younger people, and you have to be a good influence, right, as a sportsman.
But it's easier said than done. See, when you first, and I go back to when I was 18, so I didn't think of any of that. I just sort of like, oh, what do I say? And then all of a sudden you're getting a little bit used to it, and then the media starts saying, oh, wow, this and wow, that. Then all of a sudden you get a bad report.
Yeah.
And that's when you don't know how to deal with it. And it's like, oh, and you're taking it personal, and you shouldn't.
But, you know, it's very difficult when you're young, Mark. And I think that, you know, you said, I think Andrea asked that, did we get any coaching about that? And you obviously didn't with rugby, and we didn't when we started the show. There was really no coaching and preparation for that sort of thing.
But also there wasn't the social media and things that there are now.
No, true.
So everybody that was sort of maybe in the new series, Mark, would be very familiar putting themselves in front of cameras and things like that, whereas you guys would have No,
absolutely. There was none of that. Thank goodness.
It's just a sign of the times. It's going to get worse and worse. You know what I mean? Like you got cameras the shapes of buttons now and stuff like that. So you don't know who's trying to grab you or who's trying to set you up or whatever. So you got to stay true to who you are. You know, you don't want to disappoint anybody, but you know, you've got your family and you've got, you know, you're also representing, you know, in my situation now, representing Channel 10. Even though that's all finished and I'm no longer contracted, I'm still representing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it's an ongoing thing, but it's also good for yourself. It's also good development for yourself, development for your business. It's great for motivation. So
it keeps you in line, keeping you honest.
Yeah, and keeps me in the gym. It keeps me motivated in the gym. And, you know, like to be 60 and have an opportunity is to do another show. I never thought I'd have another opportunity to do anything. You know, I'm always out there, you know, working hard and what I'm doing because I love what I do. But
I think, you know, it's interesting to hear what everyone has gone on to do. So, and I think that lends us the question about how did you actually get the ref gig?
I received a text message on Instagram. Instagram's a wonderful thing. I didn't even know it was there.
Hey, Mark, it's called a direct message. Just thought I'd correct you. Not a text message.
A DM, is it?
A DM.
So I said to, I forget who it was. I said, oh, what's that? They said, oh, you've got a message. Oh, okay. So I pressed the button and, oh, look, we're looking for your son, Tori. This is Mike Worsley from Warner Brothers. We're looking for your son. We think he'd make a good gladiator. And we chatted for ages. And anyway, so I just went through the natural process. Oh, the gladiators are coming back. And yeah, Tori, like he's an athlete, you know, and I said, yeah, okay, well, here's his number and everything like that. But I said, oh, so who's in the show? And I started just talking like that. So I'm going to, well, what about a big brawly ref that can control him, like me? I threw my own pitching. And Mike went, oh, that's not a bad idea. So anyway, I forgot all about it after that. And they rang Tori. Tori smashed the, you know, he'll tell you about that, but he smashed the testing, pretty much been the best on everything. Anyway, cut a long story short, he never got the nod. So that's a story you could probably talk to him about. But in the meantime, they rang me and said, oh, look, Mark, they've got good and bad news. The good news is that you've been selected to be the ref, but the bad news is Tori didn't get selected as a gladiator. So it was a bit bittersweet. You can imagine being a dad wanting to protect his son. I just said, oh, no, maybe I shouldn't do this, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I didn't say anything for a week. I let Tori just, you know, take the news. and understand it. And that's when they come back and said, look, we'd like him to be a contender. And I said, look, Tory, life's about experiences.
Go for it.
Just doesn't matter if you come last. It doesn't matter if you fall off. It doesn't matter if you break your nose. It doesn't matter. And just, it was a whole experience, even for me to see the way that they do things now, which is a lot of it was the same. But it was a good experience to see without a crowd, and how they did it and all the directors. It was a lot different to when we did it. I mean, it was the same but different. So section.
What are your thoughts, Mark, on the no crowd?
Oh, well, it's like playing a game of rugby league with no crowd, during COVID. Like, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
It's such an integral part of the energy and the whole thing, right? Mental.
Well, you run off. My whole life was running off the crowd, running off. Like if you're a bit down, you listen. And that's where you get your motor and you get up and you go. And it was tough. I mean, we were really, I don't know the process for what they wanted to do, but I know that the time they asked me to be the ref to the time of filming is a very short time. And they were picking the gladiators and picking the contenders all in that period of time within 2 months prior. So it's really done really quickly.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one memory from your time in Gladiators, Mark, what was your favourite memory? Is there something that stands out to you other than
meeting me?
Obviously.
Does it have to be it has to be a bad memory. It has to have Bo Ryan with my hammer outfit, and I can't get that. It's burned into me brain.
In the new series, I know.
It doesn't look half bad in a hammer outfit.
That was very funny.
Oh, Bo.
Yeah,
he did good.
He did an awesome job as the ref, by the way. And I think that, I was saying that there was some pretty hard hits and knocks, particularly in Powerball. I think even more full on than when we did it in 95. And I've got to say at this stage too, I'm pretty grateful to you. I don't know whether anyone knows, but Mark pretty much coached us through how to tackle, specifically in Powerball, which is a big hard hitting game. We had no idea what we were doing as far as protecting ourselves in the tackle. But I noticed in this new series, big hits. It would have been difficult to referee that.
Well, yeah, good player, but look, you also got to look at too is when we did the Powerball, we're on carpet, so they had a carpet mat, a big mat. It was carpet. So Predator, he done his cruciate ligament because his toe hit a wrinkle in the mat.
Yeah, right.
Ouch.
If you remember,
I do.
So, but the flooring was like a padded square blocks. They were padded, but they'd slipped into each, and then they run a mat over the top. But it wasn't like a mat, a stone mat. It was like a padded floor, like in karate or something.
Yeah.
So there was no areas where it could fold up or whatever. I think it was a little bit harder to hit the ground too. But at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Being able to sit down in tilt. That's not on.
I was told that was allowed. So
by
also
who? I want to know who said that.
Yeah, I'll find out. But also they put I think it was about a 2v2 or a 1v2 bit of wood across the front strip. Now we never had that either. And one of the contestants, he came up to me and he said, "Oh, if I lean backwards and fall off backwards, am I disqualified?" And I said, "No. If you've got the rope in your hand, you fall off backwards. That means that the gladiators come off." You know what I mean? And he went, "Oh, okay." So as soon as the whistle went, he just jumped backwards, and he was hanging off the back. But that was the difference in the two games. I personally think that it was better the other way because
I do too.
The gladiator had to have balance. Otherwise, he was gone or she was gone,
Yeah.
I think the wall was a little bit harder.
Yes, I think the run up there was a little bit harder. And I think that pyramid, obviously, there was a bit of a difference there, which was exciting. I quite like that, that they were able to leverage those 5 points by hooking their feet up. So that was great. I think there could have been a little bit more tackle and roll.
I think the pyramid was a couple of steps bigger.
Yeah.
I think the gladiator was a little bit higher.
See, it's really funny because you gladiators notice this stuff, but the average person at home would be like, I never counted the steps in pyramid.
Like, running up that pyramid.
I bet you did, steps. But I thought they would have just wheeled out those props from like the 90s cupboard somewhere.
They would too. I was a bit disappointed in the rings.
Did you read on social media that the Americans might be bringing the gladiators back? Did you read on social?
Yeah, well, I think someone mentioned to me this just the other day, actually.
Well, I mean, with the success of the UK Gladiators, that has gone gangbusters, the recent series for that.
You know, I speak to Hunter, James Crossley still. I don't know if you know, but they did pantomimes.
Yeah, I do.
So they were pretty much doing gladiators all year round.
That's right. Wolf played Wolf.
They went into pantomimes at Christmas and well, you know, I went and saw Hunter. He was fantastic. Every night, they just, and like, we're wondering why they're buying all these units, and we're trying to get, make ends meet. But but it was just huge over there.
It was massive, but it would be a shame not to see a series 2 here. I think we have some amazing athletes in these new gladiators, and I think within this country some pretty awesome contenders to step up to the plate as well. So I think that obviously the new series, there needs to be a little bit of tweaking with how they do it. Live audience people, for the and a lack of clouds in the sky. And
the live audience, they come. If you're doing, I know it's hard, but if you're doing the school holidays, kids are coming in their droves.
Yeah,
but but again, it's kind of costs money for a stadium and. But
I think it's all doable. It's just how you got to look at it, and I think that's been a big part of the success in the UK is that they took that old the 90s with having the crowd and a lot of aspects of the show in the 90s, brought it into this and then made it their own.
But parents that were big fans of the 90s Gladiators would have loved to have taken their kids along to this event that they went to, and it was part of their, growing up.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame that it was instead like canned applause like that. Which wasn't real, like there was just that canned stuff.
I think you need to send that to Channel 10. I really like that one.
For the entire time that we filmed, it was never an empty seat, was there?
Never. No, never. And 2 shows a day, as you said, and a packed house. It was amazing. And I've spoken about it in previous eps that it really made it. You could play to the crowd. It just gave you, the old wind beneath your wings.
But also, not to compare Gladiators to Ninja Warrior, but they had quite a crowd at Ninja Warrior as well. Yeah. And people dressing up with their fan favorite t-shirts and crazy costumes and things like that, I think really made it fun for a spectator watching it at home.
I agree.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that want to watch it, but and I have my views, but they put the whole series on within 2 weeks, 2 and a bit weeks.
Yeah. Too short a time to organise a live crowd like that.
Powers to be a lot more smarter with the marketing than I am. I've got no idea about marketing, but it was all up and done and finished and over.
I think it was pretty promising, the ratings of the first show. So there were obviously a lot of people that were wanting to engage with it.
Yeah.
And with, as Andrea said, with, bringing their children along to that, that nostalgic type feel and show them what they used to watch. And it was unfortunately just, nothing like the original.
Well, there's so much more they can get out of it. If they can tweak it a bit and go and talk to a few people and do a few things and blah, 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 make it, like putting music in. I mean, they got rid of the music. Another one bites the dust when someone hits the dust. I mean,
absolutely.
Saving money there, I would imagine.
I think that, there are obviously a bunch of amazing athletes in these new guys. And we've been lucky enough to meet, one of them so far. We had a chat with Kalani, who won, the series. And I just think there's just such scope to continue. It would be such a shame.
They've got so much equipment.
Yeah, that's right. And if not, we'll buy it and have fun on it, and I'll train Andrea on it.
Yeah,
take it on the road, man.
Yeah, take it on the road.
I want Sparkles to say, Andrea, are you ready? And I just want to have that as my ringtone or something.
Come on, Mark. Let's hear it.
All right.
Ready? All right.
He's at a shopping centre. This is going to be hilarious.
Contestant Andrea, are you ready?
Oi, it's supposed to be contender now. Come
I
on.
love it.
We can't. It's copyright.
I am so making that my ringtone. Thank you so much, Sparkles.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure we would love to have you back on the show, in the future. And we very much look forward to tapping in with Tori, your son, in the not too distant future as well. So listening to.
All right, well, next time we'll do that. We'll come down to Melbourne and say hello.
Absolutely. And we'll get a photo of you guys in your gladiator outfits.
Yes, we'll get one for you too, Andrea.
Oh.
Wait then.
Start training now.
Suck it in.
I'll wear the trackie.
Thanks so much. Mark McGaw. Hello.
Lovely to see you.
Good too. All
See you.
right. Thank you.
All right, we're going to talk about the Oz Fitness Expo. Now, Jules, this was the biggest event since Bec Hare if you were into fitness, and it was on at Jeff Shed in Melbourne. Or I think they prefer to be called the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. There were so many companies selling so many things and sampling. This is how we got all of this. This was free.
Andrew is very excited about that part of it. But we had some very generous people there share not only their samples but some of their knowledge. So as the weeks go on, we will have a few of those people on the show to chat about not only their products but how they sort of fit into the industry itself.
Yeah, because each product kind of has its own role. Like that's what I noticed. There's like pre-workouts, and then there's protein intakes, post-workout, and greens and healthy
amino
things.
acids and
protein water. Jules tried a heap of them, and if you follow us on socials, we will be posting a little journey of Jules on her sampling. It was like a wine tasting, but not as fun.
Drinking my way through the Fitness Expo.
Yeah, protein water, which I didn't even know existed because it was all just powder, but not anymore. And, as you said, we met some really, really nice people, and we will talk to them. But like these are so cool because these are pre-workout gummies.
Yes.
And you said you don't do caffeine.
No, not at all. So they are non-stim, which means there's no caffeine in them. So I don't like to take, I don't even drink coffee, so I don't like to take anything with caffeine in it. So, I'm really, really happy to see that a lot of these products are coming through on the market and they weren't there not that long ago. Yeah,
it's sort of tailoring to the needs of people. It was like the protein powder made from plants. They were saying if you've got intolerances and things like that, to dairy and things like this is a solution. So there's lots of solutions to different fitness problems.
And of course, the Fitness Expo wasn't just about the food and drinks, although we did.
It was a big part of it.
It was a big part of it. But it was also, we met some amazing people and saw some amazing, athletes along the way as well.
We sure did. And you had a chat to a couple of really important people.
We've
got the winner of this season of Gladiators.
Yes.
Kalani.
Mum Delta from the original Gladiators.
So you guys go way back.
We do.
And in fact, Jules, your son Eden was there as well, and we've got a pic on our socials of Eden and Kalani, the Gladiator babies together.
The Gladiator babies. It was so lovely to see. It was an absolutely beautiful moment.
And you can imagine they're both really buff.
They are, yes. So at some stage in the not too distant future, we'll be having a chat to Kalani as well, which will be exciting.
Another sweetheart is a gladiator who was Kwame.
Yes.
Oh, what a gorgeous man.
Yeah, absolutely. So Maximus in the show, the new series, and just the most amazingly beautiful person. It was really lovely to catch up with him, and what a smile that man has. Hey?
Oh, absolutely.
And a real character.
He really is, and he's got these big, bulging, hard muscles, but a big, soft, gooey heart, I reckon.
He has. He was just absolutely such a lovely person to meet, and again, someone that we'll be catching up with in the future to have a chat about the show and what he's doing now, and
maybe some training tips, Jules, because he looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Not saying you don't. So there you go. That was our time at the Oz Fitness Expo, and it was a lot of fun. Looking forward to it next year.
Yeah.
All right, so it is time to move on now to my fitness journey.
Yay!
I just like the way I've got a fake crowd cheering me on.
Everybody's doing it.
Jules has taken my measurements, and very quickly, because, taking measurements is boring and we didn't want to show all of that. But what did it flag for you, Jules? Because there was one thing I know you sort of raised your eyebrows at. Of the numbers.
Say raised eyebrows. I think that it's important that and this is why you've come here.
Absolutely.
Or the motivation to come here for Andrea was heart health, as there's a medical history within Andrea's family, and when we do these measurements, often in the midriff area, it will show that and whilst we can't spot reduce for that area, that if we're carrying quite a bit of weight in those areas, it can often lead to issues.
Cardiovascular disease. You can say those big words.
Yeah. So,
yep.
And we don't be frightening for people, and it's not always the case, but it's certainly, it's something that people need to be very aware of.
Yeah, and in my defence, I'm perimenopausal, and my front bump, my frump.
Did you really just say that?
I did. That's got to go. So even though that didn't raise any red flags for you, it's something I want to get rid of, okay? The frump has to go.
Awesome. So we'll put that down as one of your mini goals.
Mini goal?
Yeah, I'm not even going to say the word.
It's quite a big mini goal.
Oh, okay. Just what are you going to say? Yes. All right, good.
Excellent. All right. And so next episode, we're going to cover my fitness assessment, and that's going to be some huffing and puffing and lifting or
That's
doing
right.
something.
So in the interim here, before we get back to you in a fortnight's time, I will be writing up Andrea's program, the first of which will be her fitness test, so we can find out exactly where she stands, full body fitness test.
And we will show you that and what it entails, and I'm sure I'm going to live. I hope anyway.
I'll just say now that I've got the defib machine. Everything's good. We're good to go. You'll be fine.
I'm sure someone's done first aid around here.
Qualified.
And I am in the ambulance.
Excellent.
So feel free to call 000. Don't worry about the bill. It's sorted.
Excellent.
All right. So next episode, some exciting things. That and Bec Hare, who is an incredibly gorgeous woman on Instagram. You can check her out.
Very knowledgeable.
And her physique shows just how much knowledge she's got up here, because she is looking amazing.
Indeed. So we're going to talk nutrition. Bec is obviously qualified, but she also competes in bodybuilding, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But predominantly, we're going to look at, initially anyway, what macros mean, how they are important, calorie counting, yes or no, and things, a few things like that.
Yeah, because it can all be very, very confusing, especially if you're new to this area. And as you've said before, Jules, some people love the strictness of counting things, and some people
find
don't.
It very laborious, and
so we'll find some hacks around that.
Yeah.
All right, looking forward to that.
Me too.
She's lovely.
She's gorgeous.
All right, well, thank you for joining us again, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for episode 4.
Yay!
Bye.
Exactly. See you.